Well, if you have a choice to meditate upon a very beautiful form, his very beautiful face, and nose, eyebrows, and what? Indescribable. Seems better to meditate upon that which is very beautiful and pleasing and merciful. Persons who are envious have a different opinion. What is that envy? Seeing someone so beautiful, someone whose consciousness is pure is pleased by that. Someone whose consciousness is not pure becomes displeased. You don't like it. Someone's better than me. Oh, no, cannot be. Then nothingness. And then they say that, well, they take it, well, the main thing is to concentrate the mind. So it doesn't matter, you can concentrate on anything or nothing. They take the meditation to be the end, or a means to an end, and it can be, the main thing is to meditate. So if you want, you can meditate on Vishnu, if you can meditate on another god. There are so many gods, they're all imaginary anyway, according to the impersonalists. So you can meditate on whatever you like, whatever you can fix your concentration on, because the main thing is just to concentrate. They got it wrong. Dhruva Maharaj, he took up meditation, and for him also, as for anyone who's meditating without a clear conception of bhakti, even if they're meditating on the form of Vishnu, they take this form to be a means to an end. We shall meditate on the form of Vishnu, and then we'll become self-realized. And what happens after that? Well, I guess you don't need Vishnu anymore, because you did it, you finished your meditation. But because the form of Vishnu is very beautiful, very merciful, then it's natural to be attracted to him. And when we're meditating on that form as a kind of something to fix the mind, that's the trick. Because it's natural for the mind to be attracted to Vishnu. And something else happens, that instead of just the mind becoming fixed, the mind also becomes attracted to him. And then it's natural to think that, well, if he's so beautiful, what kind of a person is he? Is it just a form? That's what the non-devotees say about the form of the deity in the temple. They may say it's very beautiful, but all right, but just a statue, that's all. But those who are devotees, even at a very neophyte level, they begin to appreciate that the beauty is the beauty of not simply an artist's fashion beauty, but is the beauty of the Supreme Person, who's not only is his form beautiful, but his personality is very pleasing and attractive. And to enter a relationship with that personality, that is bhakti. Kata buste par? So, the meditation on the form of the Lord naturally gives impetus to bhakti, which is the natural function of the soul. And Dhruva Maharaj experienced that he was meditating on the form of the Lord and he became attracted to that person. And even persons who have actually a much higher aspiration than Dhruva Maharaj, the idea of liberation from this material world or impersonal Brahman or realization, that is a much higher aspiration. Dhruva Maharaj thought of the biggest and best thing he could get, but he was still not on a very high level because his aspiration was only for something material. So, transcendentalists, their aspiration is much higher than anything a materialist can dream of. But they still, if they have not come to the stage of Krishna consciousness, then they're still cheating themselves of the nectar for which everyone should be anxious. We find that the description of the form of Vishnu, it's a repeated theme in the Bhagavatam itself, the form of the Lord, and this again already has been described in the 3rd canto, and it's usually the description goes over several verses, and there have been literally. Still today there are hundreds of poems and songs extant in various languages praising the form of the Lord. Rup Kirtan, Nam Kirtan, Rup Kirtan, Guna Kirtan, Lila Kirtan. These 4 aspects of the Supreme Lord. Nam, Rup, Gun, Lila. These are the subjects of innumerable kirtans, poems, stutis, stavas, various poetic compositions, and they're often very similar. And mundane critics, they criticize. What is this? You see, all these poets, they write this morning the same thing over and over. It's kind of boring, and couldn't they think of something else? And that's the idea in modern art, to be creative and produce something else. But in Vedic art, the art is to produce the same thing. Produce a deity of Krishna. You don't think, let's make a different Krishna. Let's make a different form. Or the artist, if he reproduces the same form, that is his perfection. Of course, Krishna is always new and fresh at every moment, so it won't be exactly the same, and Krishna is perceived by different persons because every person is different, so they perceive him in a somewhat different way. So it's not that the poems are exactly the same, but they have a lot of similarity. And people may think, well, that's very boring, but for the devotees it's not boring. Again and again they like to hear about the form of Krishna, because that form, meditating on that form or hearing about that form, is eternally pleasing. Hearing about the pastimes of Krishna is eternally pleasing. He is the proper object of meditation. This is inconceivable to the materialist, because the materialist is always looking for something new and fresh. That's the nature of the material. Well, it seems to him fresh, but what fresh in this material world is already rotten. There's nothing fresh. Whereas Krishna is not stereotyped. His pastimes, they are the same pastimes again and again and again, but they're not boring or dull, they're always fresh. They always give inspiration to the devotees. Not exactly the same, but more or less along the same pattern, his pastimes. So in the material world, because everything is stale and dull and boring, and there's no actual pleasure in any of it, therefore people are always looking for something different. Something different. Let's try something different. And it seems inspiring because it's different, and they think, oh, it's different, and it must be better. And this is what I'm looking for. And then that becomes stale and dull and boring, and they go on and they spend their whole lives looking for something different and fresh, and this must be it, and it never is it. But with Krishna there's no need to always change, because he is completely perfect as he is, without any change. So, there's no need to change it. It's not that Krishna has to take different form. He does take different forms and satisfies various devotees with various states. He doesn't take. It's very difficult. What language to use to describe Krishna? If you say he takes different forms, no, he doesn't take different forms. The forms are always existing. If we say he has different forms, that suggests that the forms are different from him. You can only say he is different forms, or he manifests different forms, which are all very pleasing to his devotees. And different devotees are attracted to different forms of the Lord, and all the forms they have different pastimes. The form of Varaha Dev is exactly suitable for his pastimes. That wouldn't be very suitable for Gopi Lila. Varaha is very suitable for Varaha Lila, nor is the form of Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan very suitable for Varaha Lila, nor does Hanuman. He knows that Rama, Srinathe Janakinathe, Abheda Paramatmane, Tatapi Mama Sarvasvam Rama Kamala Lochanaha. He knows that my Rama, lotus-eyed Rama, he is non-different. Janakinath, the Lord of Rama, is non-different from Vishnu Narayan, the Lord of Sri. But still, he says, as far as I'm concerned, my Lord is Rama. He's my Lord. So everyone feels, the pure devotee, they feel that this is my Lord. Here is Mother Yashoda, my Krishna. And Radharani, my Krishna. Hanuman, my Rama. So that same person who is the same, and the same form is described, but every devotee has their own individual, unique relationship which they enjoy with him. So they feel my Krishna, my Rama, my Varaha, whichever form. Or there may be some devotees are attracted to many forms. They like to hear about all the forms. Devotees of Krishna, and here I'm saying that devotees of Krishna as those who are particularly attracted to the form of Krishna, not those who are attracted to the form of Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, Kurma, those who are particularly attracted to the form of Krishna. they also hear about the pastimes of other forms. We have in Bhagavata descriptions of Varaha, Rama, Nrsimha, Kurma, Matsya, various Hamsa avatar is described. And so here we have Dhruv Maharaj, who was the Prishni Garba, appeared before him. So various forms of the Lord of Krishna are described, and devotees hear about them also. Devotees of Krishna, they hear about the other forms that he takes. Gita Govinda, the most, or we can say the Gita Govinda, after what is described, not so much detail in Bhagavatam is described in Gita Govinda, and that's the prototype Rasa Shastra, based on which so many songs and poems have been described. And that begins with the description of Dasavatar, the famous Pralaya Payodi Jale Kritavanasi Vedeya. First of all, the description of the 10 avatars, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Nrsimha, and so on. That's at the beginning. And then Kesha, at the beginning of the Gita Govinda, and Keshava Dhrita, and then Dasha Vidharupa, the different forms are described. This is Kesha. This is our Kesha. This is the Kesha about to be described. He assumes different forms. 10 are described. There are so many other forms. So, devotees of Krishna, they appreciate Krishna more by knowing of his other forms. They don't deny his other forms. But that same Lord who saved the Vedas in the form of a fish and lifted up the earth in the form of birth. Yeah, he's one word ahead of me. I didn't say it. Oh, I missed Kurma. So the Matsya Kurma Varaha, who became the pivot for the churning of the Mandara mountain, who appeared as half lion, half man form to tear apart Hiranyakashipu, who appeared as a very beautiful Brahmin boy and cheated Bali Maharaj, who was a very violently killed all the Kshatriyas, the misbehaved Kshatriyas, then who punished the 10-headed Ravana and offered his heads to the 10 heads to the 10 directions. Then there's a controversy. Who's next? Who's next? Depends which sampradaya you're from. What do you say? Wait a minute, the Madhvas don't say that. What do the Madhvas say? They don't accept Balaram. So, then very beautiful Balaram. Or Krishna, some say Krishna. Or some say Balaram and Krishna, and they leave out Buddha. Anyway, Jayadev says, in our sampradaya, Balaram and Buddha and Kalki, So the devotees of Krishna, they're he took all these different forms and had all these wonderful pastimes. And here he is, playing in the home of Nanda Maharaj. That same Lord who is competent to save the Vedas and destroy Rama and perform cosmic pastimes, going from heavenly planets to Sutala and as Vamana and covering the whole universe. That same Krishna, the elderly Mother Yashoda, elderly gopis, they're clapping their hands and he's dancing, little baby. So they appreciate more that how wonderful is our Krishna, that he's so great, but the greatest of his greatness is that he's become subordinate to his devotees. And you say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. If he's great, how can it be subordinate? That means someone's greater than him. That's right! That's right, someone's greater than him. Mother Yashoda is greater than him. Well, then he can't be God. Yes, he is God. He is God. He is the object of meditation for people who don't have cell phones. Yogis don't have cell phones. They're sitting meditating, okay, back to meditation. No cell phones. So here we're supposed to be meditating on Krishna, so no cell phones. You can have your cell phone afterwards. Now we have to meditate on the form of Krishna. At least our mad mind has got so many topics. Shota Vyadini Rajendra Rinang Santi Sahasrasha. Sahasrasha means how many subjects do we have to think about and hear about? 1,000. It doesn't mean 1,000. It means beginning with 1,000. So many things we have to hear about and think about and discuss. But at least during this time we should have discussion of Atma Tattva, of the nature of the Self, the nature of the Supreme Self, and everything else that can wait. So cell phones can be turned off during class, at least during this time. All the rest of the time we're thinking about, talking about, discussing all kinds of things, but at least during this class time we should have some concentration. Try to concentrate on Krishna. We don't even try if we think that I have something more important than... We're not going to achieve what Dhruv Maharaj achieved. He was meditating, he was fixed in meditation. His meditation was successful. He was completely fixed on the form of Krishna. So that's what we're trying to achieve, is to be fixed on Krishna. We might find it boring this way. Sukhapolam, sunasam, subhuvam. I've heard it so many times. Beautiful forehead and what else? The nose. To us it may seem kind of boring, just, alright, well, okay, nice nose. But the pure devotees, they're completely entranced by these descriptions. That's why they write You may think, well, why write another one? There's already so many poems about the form of the Lord, about the same. It's the same pastimes. As I was saying, the Gita Govinda is like the prototypal Leela Kirtan, and then so many have been written, more or less telling the same story, without much difference. Then why don't you do something original? Why the same thing over and over and over again? Because the devotees are just, for them it's just bliss. They're completely absorbed in it. They're completely entranced by it. And for them, they're just, somebody came to, I have to write something. Yes, no, not I have to write something. It just comes in their mind. We may think it's just something the same, but to them it's just another nuance on the subject which has completely absorbed their consciousness. To us, like I say, it may seem boring, but for them it's ever fresh. Did you hear what Krishna did when he went to the forest and his friends were stealing his lunch pack and they were calling in the wells, calling out sounds, and they would dance with Krishna and play on their flutes and make funny noises, and they'd get tired and they'd lie down and they'd massage Krishna. Pure devotees are very happy to hear this again and again and again. And for other people, boring. They're not even boring. It's not even the first time interesting. Boring means when you've heard it you hear something more than once. Like a novel. You read a novel and then you throw it away, or you sell it to the second-hand bookshop or whatever, because even if you thought it was good the first time, you don't want to read it another time because you already know the story, and then there's no more. The interest comes from not knowing what the story is. But in Krishna Leela, the interest comes from knowing what it is. It's different because it's by its very nature attractive. Whereas in the material world, materialistic stories, they're full of fear and tension and hope, and you're always wondering what's going to happen. In the material world, you're trying to avoid some difficult situation, so you hear some story, become absorbed in how some imaginary person is trying to avoid some imaginary difficulty, and then in the imagination of the novelist, he actually escapes it, and then so you become absorbed in this imagination. But Krishna Lila is reality, and even though the pastimes are not from the literary standpoint, they might not be very interesting. I mean, it's not just like, for instance, killing Bakasura. It's not really a great story. It's not going to win some prize. There was a big, some demon assumed the form of a baka, a stork, this bird with a long beak, and opened it up. And then Krishna, well, to make a long story short, it's not a very long story. He played, and then he went inside and he came out and ripped it apart. It's not really, really great story from the story point of view. I mean, there are much more interesting stories than that. It's not very interesting. Or the Keshi in the form of a horse came in Vrindavan, and Krishna stuck his left hand inside his throat and killed him. Well, it's not such a very interesting story. But for the devotees, it's much more interesting than any other story. Because the subject is Krishna. and everything about Krishna is delightful. Shrinu sukhadam shubhadam bhavasaram. In this material world, which is characterized by birth and death, hearing about Krishna is very pleasing and very auspicious. So, by the mercy of Narad Muni, conveyed to us through Srila Prabhupada, we are fortunate to hear about Krishna. And we may be more fortunate to develop a taste for that. By doing so. If we don't, then we never will. If we don't discuss about Krishna, then how are we ever going to get a taste for hearing about Krishna? And if we do, then we will get a taste for hearing about Krishna. That's the nature of Krishna. He is attractive. That's what his name means, and it's not just a name. As we may give a child a name, Padmalochan in Bengali, there's a saying, what is that? Kana chale naam ki Padmalochan. The child gets born, one eye blind, and they call him lotus-eyed. It's wishful thinking. He's not lotus-eyed, he's blind-eyed. But with Krishna, he's not just his name is, there are so many people called Padmalochan, but he's actually Padmalochan, actually lotus-eyed. And all that, so many names of Krishna, and they all exactly fit him. That's why we say every name is a name of Krishna, and at least every good name. Because anything good, that has its origin in Krishna. He is the reservoir of everything. Good, pleasing. So there are unlimited names for Krishna, and devotees, you could say they make up names for Krishna, or they discover names for Krishna. Actually, Krishna is not different from his names because those qualities are already there in him. They're not, we say in him, but those qualities are inherent in him, they're intrinsic from him, non-different from him. So devotees, they make up, not exactly make up, but they bring out names of Krishna which might not have been known before in human society. We find in Bhagavatam, there's so many descriptions of Krishna which can be taken as names of Krishna. This Vallabhacharya, he took out from Bhagavatam all names of Krishna. This is like a small booklet, because so many descriptions are there of Krishna, and each time there's a name given, it's a name. Each description becomes a name of Krishna. So, like that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, for instance, just for every Vaishnava poet, they bring out names, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote various songs, or we say poems, when they're sung, they're songs. Or anywhere in the spiritual world there's no difference, because poems are songs. So he'd bring out different names of Krishna, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Advaita Prapujita Gora, for instance. The Gora, name for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is worshipped by Advaita Acharya, Prapujita, in this context, what would it mean? Very nicely, what would you say? Fully? Yeah, it could be taken in various ways. Pra can mean so many things. So like that, Krishna, unlimited names, because he has unlimited forms. Many, not so many forms are well known, but even though his form, well, that's the Mayavadis, they say the form means limitation, but Krishna's form is not limited. It's not limited because it's present everywhere, and it is achintya guna swarupam. It's not limited. Our forms are limited, but his form is of inconceivable qualities. So achintya means unlimited, because achintya means inconceivable, but inconceivable means it's unlimited. There's no limit on it. Because it cannot be captured by thought. You cannot say, now I understood everything about Krishna. He's unlimited. So even though his form by definition appears to be limited, but because Krishna's form is inconceivably wonderful, it's unlimited. That's one reason why it's unlimited. So, Hare Krishna. The description of the form will be continued in the next verse. Is there any question about this? There's a question. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Lord appears in different form and
different forms?
Lord comes to this world.
Or if you say it just makes a difference, but I mean what you're saying, what's the meaning of what you're saying? Do you mean to say he's coming in different forms?
Yeah, different.
Okay, if you say different form, it means a specifically different form that you're talking about. You say forms, then it means plural. Yeah, then?
He is attractive in his forms when he comes as Krishna and Rama like that. And how to take the forms which are apparently not so attractive, like Kurma, Varaha.
Varaha, not attractive? Why not? All the demigods, they were appreciating. You can go to this near Srikakulam. There's the form of the Kurma avatar, and those devotees who are worshipping, they find him attractive. So, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. If we're not attracted, that's our misfortune. Form of Vishnu is always attractive. The form of Varaha is not that of some horrible pig. For that matter, the form of Krishna is not that of a man either. When you say Krishna, it's not. Krishna is not some blood and stool and mucus, bone-filled bag that we call a man in this world. That the forms of blood and mucus and pus filled in some skin bag that makes a human man is only a perverted reflection of the transcendentally beautiful body of Krishna. And similarly, the stool on the inside, stool on the outside form of a pig that we see in this world, that's only a perverted reflection of the transcendently beautiful form of Varaha Deva. We think a pig's ugly because he has stool on the outside, but a man's body has stool on the inside. So we only see, it's just we don't see it, that's all. So we may think it's very, very nice. And actually Krishna also passes stool, for that matter, and urine. But that's transcendental. You want me to explain that? Well, I won't, because it's not a subject matter of explaining. It's simply to be accepted. There's no mathematical formula to explain Krishna, or no logical formula to explain Krishna. That's why the atheists are convinced that belief in God is foolish, because it can't be understood by logic, can't be understood by the mind. And that's the same reason why the devotees accept Him. So what's the difference between the atheist and the theist? The atheist has faith in his own logic and rationalization, whereas the devotees are more intelligent and they don't have faith in their own intelligence. And they accept that beyond the three limits of time, space and thought, there is He who exists in the Turiya Avastha, in the fourth dimension. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,